The first light of dawn bleeds across the horizon, painting the endless plains in shades of amber and gold. Here, in the heart of the African savannah, time doesn't feel like a straight line, but a rhythmic, ancient heartbeat. You can hear it in the low sigh of the wind through the tall grass, and the distant, territorial roar that vibrates in your very chest. This is a place of breathtaking beauty, yet it is governed by an uncompromising law. As the sun rises higher, it reveals a world where every creature is part of a grand, intricate designon. Nature's balance that has remained unchanged for millennia. But beneath this serene majesty lies a constant, thrumming tension. What does it truly take to survive in a land where water is more precious than gold, and every shadow could hide a ghost? Today, we step into the wild kingdom to witness a story not just of teeth and claws, but of resilience, family, and the profound wisdom of the earth. It is a journey into the soul of the Serengeti Ecosystem, where the line between life and death is as thin as a blade of grass. In the vast expanse of the African savannah, power has a name, and it is written in the golden eyes of the lion. To the world, they are the undisputed monarchs of the wild kingdom. But to the creatures that share these plains, they are the ultimate masters of the survival struggle. While the sun sits high and heavy in the sky, these great cats seem deceptively idle. Because lions lack an abundance of sweat glands, the brutal heat of the day is their greatest enemy. You will find them draped over the low limbs of an acacia tree, or huddled in the golden shadows, spending up to 20 hours a day in a state of regal slumber. It is a quiet, heavy stillness that kings rest before the coming storm. But as the golden hour fades into a bruised purple twilight, the desert air cools and the true nature of the beast awakens. This is when the Serengeti ecosystem transforms into a theater of shadows. The lion's secret weapon is not just its sheer muscle, but its supernatural vision. Tucked behind their retinas is a layer of reflective cells called the tapetum lucidum. This biological wonder intensifies even the faintest glimmer of starlight, granting them a world of clarity 8 times sharper than any human eye could ever hope for. To the zebra or the antelope, the night is a veil of mystery. To the lion, it is a crystal-clear map of opportunity. Watch closely as a pride begins to move. There is no wasted motion. They use the tall, dry grass of the African savannah as a silken screen, creeping with a terrifying rhythmic grace. They aren't just hunters, they are opportunists, who understand that nature's balance often tips in favor of the patient. When the moment of the strike arrives, it is a sudden, explosive display. They don't just chase, they overwhelm. Using their massive forelimbs and retractable claws, they bring the weight of the monarchy down upon their prey, delivering a precise, suffocating grip to the throat. It is a grim necessity, a violent but essential part of the life cycle that sustains the entire wild kingdom. Yet, life for a king is never easy. They are not just hunters, they are also calculated thieves, often following the circling vultures to scavenge a meal, or bullying smaller predators and prey to claim a kill they did not earn. Within the pride, every member has a role. The males, with their magnificent dark-fringed manes, stand as the towering sentinels of the territory, while the swifter, more agile lionesses are the primary providers, the silent heart of the family's survival. It is a complex, brutal, and beautiful social contract that has allowed them to endure for 10,000 years, even as the modern world begins to press against their ancient borders. Under the relentless glare of the midday sun, the African savannah can feel like an anvil where life is forged in fire. When the heat becomes a physical weight, the landscape offers a singular, life-saving sanctuary, the iconic acacia tree. With its flat, wide canopy spreading like a green umbrella against the scorched sky, the acacia is more than just a plant. It is a vital sanctuary in the wild kingdom. Its deep roots reach far into the earth, tapping into hidden veins of water that other plants simply cannot find. For the lion, the cheetah, and the weary gazelle, these pools of cool shade are the only thing standing between endurance and exhaustion. In this land, shade is a currency, and the acacia is the ultimate benefactor. But the acacia is not alone in its vigil. Standing like ancient gnarled cathedrals across the plains are the legendary baobab trees. Often called the tree of life, these giants have watched the Great Migration pass beneath them for over 6,000 years.
Their trunks, massive and swollen, are nature's most ingenious reservoirs, capable of storing up to 30,000 gallons of water. In the heart of a brutal drought, when the rivers have turned to dust and the Serengeti ecosystem gasps for breath, the baobab remains a beacon of hope. Its bark and fruit provide moisture and nutrients to elephants and baboons, proving that in the harshest survival struggle, nature always provides a way for the persistent to endure. There is a profound, stoic beauty in these trees. They do not move, yet they dictate the rhythm of life for everyone else. Giraffes delicately navigate the acacia's sharp thorns with their long, nimble tongues to reach the protein-rich leaves, while birds weave intricate nests high above the reach of ground predators. This is the quiet, unspoken side of nature's balance,
while the drama of predators and prey unfolds in the tall grass. These silent guardians stand firm, providing the stage upon which the entire play of life is performed. They remind us that survival is not always about the fastest run or the sharpest tooth. Sometimes, it is simply about the strength to stand tall and hold on when the world turns dry and cold. As night falls, the silhouette of a lone baobab against a blood-orange sunset becomes a symbol of the continent's soul. It is a reminder of a time before man, a witness to the endless cycle of the wild kingdom. These trees have survived fires, droughts, and the changing climate of the Serengeti ecosystem, yet they remain. For the elderly viewer watching from afar, there is a deep comfort in this permanence. It suggests that despite the chaos of the world, there are roots that go deep, and there is a resilience in life that can weather any storm. In the vast, shimmering heat of the African Savannah, a low vibration begins to rumble through the soles of your feet before you ever see the source. Then, they emerge, the great gray titans of the wild kingdom. The African bush elephant is a masterpiece of evolution, a 6-ton marvel of muscle and soul that moves with a surprising, silent grace. But their true power doesn't lie in their tusks or their sheer size. It lies in their minds. In the Serengeti ecosystem, where the difference between life and death is often a map hidden in the mind, the elephant is the ultimate librarian of survival. Guided by a wise elderly matriarch, the herd navigates the landscape with a purpose that borders on the miraculous. During the peak of the dry season, when the survival struggle reaches its breaking point and the earth cracks under a merciless sun, the matriarch calls upon memories passed down through generations. She remembers a hidden spring, a cluster of succulent roots, or a path to water that hasn't been used in decades. Her brain, the largest of any land mammal, is a living record of nature's balance. Without her internal compass, the younger generations would be lost to the dust. It is a beautiful testament to the value of age and experience, a message that resonates deeply with those of us who have walked long paths of our own. Beyond their survival skills, elephants exhibit an emotional depth that mirrors our own. They are among the few creatures in the wild kingdom known to mourn their dead. When they encounter the bleached bones of a fallen relative, the herd falls into a heavy, respectful silence.
They use their trunks to gently caress the skull, as if reading the stories etched in the ivory. They don't just pass by, they linger, sometimes for hours, in a silent vigil of grief and remembrance. This profound connection to their ancestors is a cornerstone of the Serengeti ecosystem, reminding us that even in the wild, love and loss are universal languages. However, these magnificent guardians are facing a modern survival struggle they cannot solve with memory alone. As human settlements expand and the climate shifts, the ancient corridors of the Great Migration are being severed. Yet, the elephants adapt. They're learning to navigate near farmland and coexist in a world that is rapidly shrinking. To protect them is to protect the very soul of the African savannah. As we watch them vanish into the twilight, their silhouettes echoing against the baobab trees, we are left with a lingering thought. In a world that often forgets its past, we have much to learn from the giants who remember everything. After months of breathless heat, the sky over the Serengeti ecosystem begins to change. The horizon, once a hazy line of dust, thickens with heavy, bruised clouds. Then it happens. The scent of petrichor, that sweet, earthy perfume of rain hitting dry soil, rises like a prayer answered. The first storm is not a gentle affair. It is a theatrical masterpiece of thunder and jagged lightning that shatters the silence of the African savannah. Within days, the miracle of life unfolds. The parched brown earth is swallowed by a carpet of emerald green, so vibrant it looks painted. This is the great rebirth, the moment when nature's balance resets itself after the trial of the drought. For the inhabitants of the wild kingdom, this transformation is a signal of abundance. Rivers that were nothing but sandy scars just a week ago now swell into life-giving veins, rushing toward the lowlands. The sound of water becomes the background music for a new chapter of survival. Animals that were once scattered and lethargic now gather with a renewed sense of purpose. You can see the joy in the way young elephants frolic in the mud, or how the zebras gallop through the lush new grass. In this fertile window, the survival struggle shifts from a search for water to a celebration of growth. This seasonal shift is the engine that drives the entire Serengeti ecosystem. The rain provides more than just hydration. It provides the high-protein fuel necessary for the next great act of the year. Every species, from the smallest dung beetle to the towering giraffe, times its life cycle to these rains. It is a reminder to all of us that no matter how long the winter or how harsh the drought, life possesses an incredible, stubborn capacity to start over. For those who have lived through many seasons, there is a deep, quiet comfort in watching the world turn green once again, proving that hope is as cyclical as the stars. But this period of plenty is also a time of preparation. The greening of the plains is the starting gun for the most ambitious journey on Earth. The herds are growing stronger, their bellies full of nutrient-rich grass, bracing themselves for the trials ahead. The nature's balance is generous, but it is never free. As the lush landscape hides new dangers in its shadows, the predators and prey dynamic enters a high-stakes game of hide and seek. The peace of the rain is beautiful, but it is merely the calm before the storm of the coming migration. In the wake of the rains, the southern plains of the Serengeti ecosystem witness one of the most heart-stopping spectacles in the wild kingdom. Within a mere 2 to 3 week window, nearly 500,000 wildebeest calves are born into this world. It is a masterpiece of biological timing, known as swamping the predators. By bringing so many lives into the world at once, the herd ensures that even the hungriest predators and prey can only take a small fraction. It is a cold, mathematical strategy for survival. But on the African savannah, numbers are the only shield against the shadows. For a newborn wildebeest, the first 5 minutes of life are a high-stakes race against gravity. Watch as a calf, still wet from birth, struggles to find its footing on the slippery new grass. Its spindly legs wobble, collapsing again and again, but the urge to stand is primal. It must. Within minutes, it is not only standing, but running alongside its mother. In this theater of the survival struggle, there is no room for a slow start. A calf that cannot keep up is a beacon for the lions and hyenas watching from the fringes. This rapid development is a miracle of nature's balance, a testament to the incredible drive of life to persist against all odds. There is a bittersweet beauty in these nurseries. While thousands of calves frolic, testing their newfound strength, the air is thick with the calls of mothers and the watchful silence of the hunters. It's a moment that reminds us of the fragility and the fierce resilience of youth. For those of us who have raised families, seeing the protective circle of the herd evokes a deep, familiar emotion. It is the universal story of the next generation, the hope they carry, and the heavy price of their protection. Every calf that survives these first few weeks is a victory for the species, a tiny spark that will soon join the thunder of the Great Migration. However, the peace of the nursery is fleeting.
The lush grass that fuels the mother's milk won't last forever.
As the plains begin to dry once more, the internal compass of the herd begins to quiver. The young must grow strong, and they must do it fast. The vast emerald carpet is about to become a grueling treadmill spanning hundreds of miles. The Serengeti Ecosystem is preparing for its most violent and magnificent act. And these thousands of new lives are the fuel that will drive the cycle forward. They are the heartbeat of the wild kingdom, ready to face the journey of a lifetime.
As the lush emerald of the rainy season begins to fade into a parched, dusty gold, a restless energy ripples through the Serengeti ecosystem. It starts with a few scattered herds, then swells into a thundering tide. Over 1.5 million wildebeest, joined by hundreds of thousands of zebras and gazelles, begin to move as one. This is the start of the Great Migration, a 1,600-mile odyssey that is less of a choice and more of a mandatory sentence for survival. Driven by a primal thirst and an ancient memory of greener pastures in the Masai Mara, the herd becomes a single, massive river of life, flowing across the African Savannah. The sheer scale of this movement is enough to take your breath away. From a bird's-eye view, the plains are etched with dark lines of animals stretching as far as the eye can see. The air is thick with the scent of crushed grass and the heavy, choking clouds of dust kicked up by millions of hooves. The sound is an unrelenting drone, a mixture of low grunts and the rhythmic drumming of 1,000 hearts beating in sync. In this wild kingdom, there is no leader, only the collective will to endure. It is a staggering display of nature's balance, where the many move to ensure the survival of the few. But this journey is far from a peaceful stroll. The survival struggle intensifies with every mile. The young calves, only months old, must now keep pace with the adults through treacherous terrain and blistering heat. Following the heels of this massive, moving feast are the predators and prey specialists. Lions, leopards, and hyenas shadow the edges of the migration, waiting for a single stumble, a moment of exhaustion, or a calf that wanders too far from its mother's side. The migration is a conveyor belt of energy, feeding the entire Serengeti ecosystem even as it consumes its own. For those of us watching this timeless procession, it's hard not to feel a sense of profound humility. It is a reminder that in the grand scheme of the wild kingdom, we are all travelers searching for our own green pastures. The determination in the eyes of these animals, despite the dust in their lungs and the predators at their backs, speaks to a resilience that is truly universal.
The Great Migration is more than just a search for food. It is a testament to the fact that life, no matter how difficult, must always move forward. The horizon is calling, and the most dangerous chapters of their story are just about to begin.
The dust-choked air of the African savannah carries a new scent. The metallic tang of water and the heavy musk of ancient reptiles. The herds have reached the banks of the Mara River, the most treacherous milestone of the Great Migration. Here, the Serengeti ecosystem demands its heaviest toll. The animals huddle on the steep embankments, their primal fear warring with a desperate thirst. They look down at the churning brown water, where the massive, prehistoric silhouettes of Nile crocodiles wait in patient, cold-blooded silence. This is the ultimate survival struggle, a bottleneck of life and death where courage is the only currency. Suddenly, a single wildebeest takes the leap of faith, and the dam breaks. Thousands of bodies plunge into the rushing current in a chaotic, thundering cascade. The water becomes a boiling cauldron of splashing limbs and desperate bellows.
Beneath the surface, the crocodiles strike with lightning speed, their powerful jaws clamping onto legs and pulling the struggling animals into the depths. It is a scene of raw, unfiltered carnage, a brutal reminder of the predators and prey dynamic that fuels the wild kingdom. In this moment, nature's balance feels cruel, yet it is this very loss that sustains the river's life for another year. But the predators aren't the only danger. The river itself is a fickle executioner. The current is strong enough to sweep away the young and the weary, and the steep, muddy banks on the far side become a slippery wall of despair. To make matters more volatile, the river is also home to the territorial hippopotamus. While they do not eat meat, their immense size and unpredictable temper make them a deadly obstacle in the water. An unlucky wildebeest caught in the path of a protective hippo can be crushed in an instant.
This is the gauntlet of the Great Migration, a test of pure endurance that leaves thousands of bodies scattered along the banks. As the chaos finally subsides and the survivors climb onto the lush grass of the Masai Mara, the silence that follows is heavy with the price of their passage. The river remains, bloated and slow, carrying the remains of those who didn't make it. It is a somber sight that hits close to home, a reminder that every journey worth taking involves risk and sacrifice. For those of us who have weathered our own storms, the sight of the survivors shaking the river water from their coats is a powerful image of resilience. The wild kingdom has taken much, but the heartbeat of the herd continues, ever moving toward the horizon. Away from the thundering chaos of the river, the African savannah returns to a deceptive stillness. Here, in the shimmering heat haze, a ghost-like figure waits. The cheetah is the fine-tuned sports car of the wild kingdom, a creature designed not for brute force, but for the poetry of motion. Every inch of its body is a tribute to the survival struggle at high speed. From its semi-retractable claws that act like running spikes, to its long, heavy tail that serves as a rudder for sharp turns, the cheetah is a biological masterpiece. But in the Serengeti ecosystem, being the fastest is a heavy burden to carry. Watch as a mother cheetah spots a stray gazelle. She doesn't roar. She vanishes into the golden grass. Her coat, dappled with black spots, is the perfect camouflage, breaking up her silhouette until she is nothing more than a shadow in the wind. Then the explosion. In just 3 seconds, she accelerates to 60 miles per hour, her spine flexing like a bow. It is a breathtaking display of nature's balance, a blur of spotted fur and raw ambition. But this sprint is a gamble. It costs her an immense amount of energy, and her body temperature soars to dangerous levels. She has only seconds to succeed before her engine overheats. The tragedy of the cheetah
lies in the moment after the kill. Unlike the lion, she lacks the muscle to defend her prize. Gasping for air, she is vulnerable. In the cutthroat world of predators and prey, she must often watch in silent frustration as a clan of hyenas or a lone lion wanders over to steal the meal she just risked her life for. For a mother with hungry cubs waiting in the brush, this loss is devastating. It highlights the brutal reality of the wild kingdom. Success in the hunt does not always guarantee survival. It is a struggle that resonates with anyone who has ever worked tirelessly, only to have their rewards snatched away. Yet, she persists.
She is a symbol of resilience, a solitary mother fighting against the odds of the Serengeti ecosystem. She will move her cubs every few days, carrying them by the scruff of their necks to hide them from the many dangers of the African savannah. Her life is a constant, high-stakes game of hide-and-seek, a delicate dance to maintain nature's balance while ensuring her bloodline doesn't vanish like a desert mirage. To see a cheetah in full flight is to see the very spirit of the wild, fragile, beautiful, and relentlessly fast. Away from the thundering chaos of the river, the African savannah returns to a deceptive stillness. Here, in the shimmering heat haze, a ghost-like figure waits. The cheetah is the fine-tuned sports car of the wild kingdom, a creature designed not for brute force, but for the poetry of motion. Every inch of its body is a tribute to the survival struggle at high speed. From its semi-retractable claws that act like running spikes, to its long, heavy tail that serves as a rudder for sharp turns, the cheetah is a biological masterpiece. But in the Serengeti ecosystem, being the fastest is a heavy burden to carry. Watch as a mother cheetah spots a stray gazelle. She doesn't roar, she vanishes into the golden grass. Her coat, dappled with black spots, is the perfect camouflage, breaking up her silhouette until she is nothing more than a shadow in the wind. Then the explosion. In just 3 seconds, she accelerates to 60 miles per hour, her spine flexing like a bow. It is a breathtaking display of nature's balance, a blur of spotted fur and raw ambition. But this sprint is a gamble. It costs her an immense amount of energy, and her body temperature soars to dangerous levels. She has only seconds to succeed before her engine overheats. The tragedy of the cheetah lies in the moment after the kill. Unlike the lion, she lacks the muscle to defend her prize. Gasping for air, she is vulnerable. In the cutthroat world of predators and prey, she must often watch in silent frustration as a clan of hyenas or a lone lion wanders over to steal the meal she just risked her life for. For a mother with hungry cubs waiting in the brush, this loss is devastating. It highlights the brutal reality of the wild kingdom. Success in the hunt does not always guarantee survival. It is a struggle that resonates with anyone who has ever worked tirelessly, only to have their rewards snatched away. Yet, she persists. She is a symbol of resilience, a solitary mother fighting against the odds of the Serengeti ecosystem. She will move her cubs every few days, carrying them by the scruff of their necks to hide them from the many dangers of the African savannah. Her life is a constant high-stakes game of hide-and-seek, a delicate dance to maintain nature's balance while ensuring her bloodline doesn't vanish like a desert mirage. To see a cheetah in full flight is to see the very spirit of the wild, fragile, beautiful, and relentlessly fast. High above the golden plains of the African savannah, circling in the vast azure sky, are the sentinels of the dead. To some, the vulture is a grim omen, a dark silhouette of impending loss. But in the grand design of the wild kingdom, they are the unsung heroes of the Serengeti ecosystem. These master aviators don't spend their energy flapping wings in a frantic search.
Instead, they are masters of the wind. By catching rising columns of warm air called thermals, they can soar for hours at altitudes of 10,000 feet, barely moving a muscle. From this celestial vantage point, they watch over the nature's balance with eyes that can spot a carcass from miles away. When the dust of the Great Migration settles and the predators have taken their fill, the Ken descend. They are the final chapter in the story of every survival struggle. While their appearance, bald heads and sharp, hooked beaks, might seem unsettling, it is a perfect example of evolutionary efficiency.
Their lack of feathers on the head allows them to remain clean while feeding in places others cannot reach. They are nature's most effective sanitation crew, capable of consuming meat tainted with anthrax or botulism that would be fatal to any other creature. By doing the dirty work no one else wants, they stop the spread of deadly plagues across the African savannah. Without these silent cleaners, the wild kingdom would quickly become a landscape of rot and disease. Imagine a town without a waste management system, that is the Serengeti without its vultures. They ensure that the cycle of life remains pure, recycling nutrients back into the soil and keeping the water sources safe for the thirsty herds. This is the unglamorous, yet essential side of nature's balance. It reminds us that every role, no matter how small or misunderstood, is vital to the health of the whole.
For those of us who appreciate the quiet, behind-the-scenes work that keeps a community running, the vulture is a symbol of dedicated service. But today, these guardians are facing their own survival struggle. Poisoning and habitat loss have seen their numbers plummet across Africa. If they disappear, the entire Serengeti ecosystem will face a health crisis of unimaginable proportions. Protecting the vulture is not just about saving a bird. It is about preserving the biological safety net of the African savannah. As we look up and see them gliding effortlessly against the clouds, we should see them for what they truly are, the vigilant protectors of life, ensuring that even in death, the plains remain a place of renewal and hope.
Rising like spotted towers above the thorny brush of the African savannah, the giraffe is a creature that seems to defy the very laws of physics. They are the tallest land mammals on our planet, with some males reaching a staggering 18 feet. To see them move is to witness a slow-motion ballet, a graceful, rhythmic stride that masks a surprising amount of power. In the wild kingdom, the giraffe has occupied a niche that no one else can reach, literally. Their height is their greatest asset in the survival struggle, allowing them to feast on the succulent leaves of the acacia tree, far above the competition of other herbivores. The most iconic feature, of course, is the neck. Stretching nearly 7 feet, it is a masterpiece of biological engineering.
While scientists once believed the neck evolved solely for feeding, we now understand it plays a vital role in nature's balance through necking, a ritualized combat where males swing their heavy heads like wrecking balls to establish dominance. But having such a long neck creates a massive challenge. How do you get blood all the way up to a brain that sits 2 stories high? The answer lies in a heart the size of a basketball, a powerful pump that generates double the blood pressure of a human to fight against gravity. It is a reminder that beauty often requires an incredible amount of internal strength to sustain. Watching a giraffe at a waterhole is a rare moment of vulnerability in the Serengeti ecosystem. To reach the water, they must awkwardly splay their front legs in a tripod position, making them an easy target for predators and prey specialists like lions or crocodiles.
Because of this risk, they have evolved to go days without a single drink, extracting most of their moisture from the leaves they eat. It is a calculated gamble, a quiet, patient life led high above the fray. For many of us, the giraffe represents a certain kind of dignity, a creature that stays out of the chaos,
keeps its head high and looks at the world from a broader perspective. However, even these gentle giants are not immune to the changing world. Their numbers have quietly declined over the last few decades, a silent extinction caused by habitat loss and the encroachment of the modern world. Yet, they show a remarkable ability to adapt, often coexisting near human settlements and adjusting their paths to avoid conflict. In the wild kingdom, the giraffe remains a symbol of elegance and resilience.
As they wander across the horizon of the African savannah, their silhouettes becoming one with the sunset, they remind us to look up, to stay grounded, and to appreciate the extraordinary wonders that still walk this earth. As the sun dips below the horizon, casting long, somber shadows across the African savannah, we are forced to confront a reality that no lens can ignore. The boundaries of the wild kingdom are no longer defined just by rivers and mountains, but by the invisible lines of human expansion. For decades, the Serengeti ecosystem has existed in a delicate tug-of-war with the modern world. Climate change is shifting the arrival of the rains. Fences are blocking the ancient paths of the Great Migration, and the silence of the plains is increasingly broken by the hum of engines. It is a new kind of survival struggle, one that cannot be won with claws or speed alone. Yet, in the midst of these challenges, there is a powerful story of hope being written by those who refuse to let these legends vanish. Conservation is no longer just about building walls. It is about finding a new nature's balance where humans and wildlife can coexist. Across the continent, local communities, once seen as rivals to the predators, are becoming their most dedicated guardians. They understand that a healthy African savanna is not just a tourist destination, but the life support system for everyone who calls this land home. It is a profound shift in perspective, a realization that we are not masters of the wild, but its humble stewards. For many of us who have seen the world change so rapidly in our own lifetimes, this struggle hits close to home. We know what it means to lose something precious, and the regret that follows when we don't act in time. But here, in the heart of the wild kingdom, every protected acre and every successfully raised lion cub is a victory for the future. Modern technology, from satellite tracking of the Great Migration to anti-poaching drones, is being deployed to tip the scales back in favor of the animals. It is a testament to human ingenuity when it is guided by respect rather than greed. The survival of the Serengeti ecosystem is a mirror reflecting our own humanity. How we treat these Vivua kings and Nue Dondep cleaners tells the story of who we are as a species. As we watch the elephants lead their young toward the next waterhole, we are reminded that their journey is our journey. Their resilience inspires us to protect the few wild places left on this earth. Because in the end, we don't just save the African savanna for the animals, we save it for ourselves, so that the heartbeat of the world never fades into a memory. As our journey through the African savanna brings us back to where we began, we start to see that there are no coincidences here. Every roar, every drop of rain, and every fallen leaf is a vital thread in a tapestry so vast it humbles the soul. This is the nature's balance at its most profound. The lion does not hunt out of malice, and the vulture does not wait out of cruelty. They are simply fulfilling their roles in a grand, circular dance that has no beginning and no end. In the wild kingdom, death is never just an ending. It is the very fuel that allows the next generation to rise. Think back to the dust kicked up by the Great Migration. That dust carries nutrients from one end of the Serengeti ecosystem to the other. The dung of the elephants
fertilizes the soil for the acacia trees, which in turn provide the shade for the weary predators who keep the herds strong. It is a perfect, self-sustaining machine, a masterpiece of biological clockwork.
When we witness the survival struggle, we aren't just seeing a fight for meat or water. We are seeing the heartbeat of the earth itself, pulsing with a resilience that has outlasted empires. It's a rhythmic certainty that offers a quiet comfort in a world that often feels chaotic. This eternal cycle is the true magic of the African savannah. For those of us who have lived through the many seasons of life, there is a deep, resonant truth in this circle. It reminds us that we are part of something much larger than ourselves, a story of endurance that was here long before us and will remain long after we are gone. The Serengeti Ecosystem is a living classroom, teaching us that every life, no matter how small or misunderstood, has a purpose and a place. To respect one part of this wild kingdom is to respect the whole, for you cannot pull one thread without unraveling the entire design. As the stars begin to crown the night sky, a heavy, peaceful silence settles over the plains. The hunters are waking, the mothers are sheltering their young, and the river continues its slow, ancient crawl toward the sea. The nature's balance remains intact, a fragile yet unbreakable promise kept between the land and its people. This is the eternal rhythma-song of fire and rain, of bone and blade of grass. It is the greatest story ever told, written in the soil of the African savannah, and as long as we have the heart to protect it, the music will never stop. As our time in this ancient theater comes to a close, the sun finally surrenders to the horizon, leaving behind a world bathed in starlight. We have witnessed the survival struggle in its rawest form, felt the ground shake under the Great Migration, and peered into the soulful eyes of the titans that rule the wild kingdom. The African savannah is more than just a place. It is a profound reminder of where we all come from. It is a mirror reflecting the virtues we hold dear, the courage of the hunter, the wisdom of the matriarch, and the selfless service of the silent cleaners. In the heart of the Serengeti ecosystem, we find a truth that is often lost in our modern, hurried liveslide, that we are inextricably linked to the rhythm of the earth. Nature's balance is not a luxury. It is the foundation of our existence. To lose these wild places would be to lose a piece of our own humanity, a chapter of our collective story that can never be rewritten.
As we look back at the silhouettes of the acacia trees, we carry with us a new sense of wonder and a heavy, beautiful responsibility to ensure that this ancient heartbeat never fades into a whisper. Thank you for wandering these endless plains with us today. If the stories of these resilient creatures moved you, or if you felt the call of the wild in your own heart, we invite you to stay connected with our journey. By cherishing these wonders, we take the first step in protecting them. Please consider subscribing to our channel and sharing your favorite moment from the African savannah in the comments below. Together, we can keep the spirit of the wild kingdom alive for generations to come. Until our paths cross again under the wide African sky, stay curious, stay humble, and remember, we are all part of the same great circle.